Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer and welcome to a new Let's Paint a Mini video. Today I'm going to be painting another sci-fi mini from Diehard Miniatures. I'm really on a Die-Hard kick right now because I have a lot of their miniatures and I want to get them painted because the more sci-fi miniatures I have painted, the better the variety I have for my 5 Parsecs game and my Stargrave games. So this one is a lizard figure. Rather than hold it up to the camera and try and get it to autofocus, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some before primed and after photos at the end of this video so you can see the work I've done. So I've primed him all in white. Now I'm going to be using speed paints, but before I do that, I'm going to do something a little differently here. Dana Howell, who has her a miniature painting channel that I really like, she did this really interesting take on the slap chop method where she took dark tone and she went into all the dark crevices and hit it, let it dry, and then she dusted it again with a white dry brushing. Then she went over it with the speed paints, and I liked the look of it, so I'm gonna see if I can mirror that effect. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Those of you who've seen previous episodes, you know I like to sort of pick a topic and run with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera down. You'll hear my voice, and you're going to see me painting, or at least in this case, hitting it with dark tone. Excuse me. Pull the camera a little closer. So what do I want to talk about today? Every video I'm going to try and just chat about something that's on my mind, and I'll tell you what's on my mind right now. There is a new channel out, and I don't want to mess up the name, so I'm going to switch to it. The YouTube channel is called Tabletop Alchemy. It's pretty new. The guy who speaks on it, I don't know his name, but he's got maybe 10 or 15 videos. But he has one right now that I'm going to put a link to in the video description called The Art of Collecting Tabletop Miniatures. And it was the title that grabbed me because in the video he acknowledges that horrible thing that we all have, at least I think most of us have, and we call it our pile of shame. Our pile of shame is our pile of unpainted miniatures. Now maybe they're primed, but they're unpainted. And so he got my attention with the title of the video, implying that we should give up this idea that we have a pile of shame and instead look at it as a hobby. We don't have a pile of shame. What we have is we are collectors of tabletop miniatures. And for that reason, there's no reason to feel shame over unpainted miniatures. They're just part of our collection. Now, in the video, he does go so far as to say, look, we all want to paint our miniatures. That's kind of why we bought them. We see the miniatures we like, and we want to paint them and get them on the table we play. Now, there are individuals out there who just like to paint miniatures. They may not necessarily play any games, but they like to paint miniatures, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. I am the guy who likes to paint my miniatures and play with them on the table in a game. So he got me thinking about a few things. One of the things he talks about in the video, and you'll have to watch it, is he has this method first of understanding exactly what's in his collection. I could tell you right now, if you asked me, do you have a miniature of X unpainted in your collection, there is a 50-50 shot that I could tell you yes or no. I have miniatures that I have owned for years that are in a box that I haven't looked at probably in years because I go out and I buy new minis like this one and I paint them and I forget that I've got miniatures sitting around unpainted elsewhere. And so one of the interesting parts of the video, and it actually comes near the end of the video, is how he sort of has documented what he has. He basically either takes a photo or he finds a painted photo of the miniatures he has. And he's got this database. It's a visual database that he's created. And he names the photo, well, he gives the file a lot of different words are in the title. But for instance, one of the examples he used, I believe, was he has a lot of dwarf miniatures. So the file name will be dwarf_. And then what he'll do is he may add a few extra keywords just to sort of like remind him that dwarf is holding an axe. So he'd put dwarf, axe, and maybe he might put female if it's a female dwarf. But you see where I'm going. He names the files based on what the image shows. And then he can like alphabetize the list or search the database if he's looking for a particular mini. And it's a really nice way to do. For a lot of us, to get to that, we would have to do a lot of work behind the scenes. I mean, I would have to sit there and go through all of my miniatures and look and see what I have. And that, that could take a while. But I think it's worth trying. I'm definitely over the holidays, I plan on dragging out that box. I have a box, and I'm not kidding. And I'm sure some of you are going to win this contest. This is not a contest. This is just my pile of shame. I have a lot of miniatures just laying around my workshop in various conditions, some glued, some primed, things like that, some half painted. But I have a box sitting over in the corner. It's probably 12 inches by 15 inches by 18 inches. It's a good sized box. And it is filled with miniatures still in their cases. A lot of it is Frostgrave miniatures, but there's some Stargrave in there. There are some WizKids miniatures in there. Things that are still in their packaging. And it's a full box. I am planning on over the holidays, I say planning because you never know how things will go. My plan is not only to get my workshop clean again, but I want to go through that box and I want to see all the miniatures I have that need to be painted. Because since I started doing these Let's Paint a Mini videos, and I also do this on Sunday nights where I do it live, I paint videos, I paint miniatures while a lot of my viewers or whatever friends come online and we just chat while I'm painting. Exactly what I'm doing right here. It just the difference is I have a chat window going and I can talk to them and they can talk to me. But the one thing I have really been enjoying lately is I'm getting my miniatures painted. I mean, I'm getting them done. I won't say that I'm getting them done 20, 30 a week, but I'm getting 5 to 10 done a week. And slowly but surely behind me here on the wall is a display case that I have with all my sci-fi miniatures. And then I have another display case with all my fantasy. And they are slowly but surely filling it up. And I'm probably going to have to find a new way to display them. But it's making me happy because I am finally getting some... For the longest time, I played Stargrave and 5 Parsecs with the same enemies, the same NPCs or the bad guys or whatever. I used the same ones over and over and over, and finally I have some new miniatures that I can play with on the table to just give myself some variety. And I'm also doing some fantasy ones because my goal right now, because I know a lot of you are wondering, is he ever going to get back to playing 5 leagues? Yes, I am. I've just sort of gotten sidetracked and got really into 5 Parsecs for a little while. I tend to do that. I jump from game to game. But I do. I plan on getting back to it. But anyway, every time I look at my the wall up there, I realize, oh man, I am really getting some painting done. So I'm going to take advantage of that and the excitement that I've got of having done that, and I'm going to start inventorying some of the miniatures that I have in various places, because once I get all these Diehard miniatures painted, I'm going to have a need to do other non-Diehard miniatures, and so it'll be nice to sort of pick and choose what I want to spend some time on. We will see how that works out for me. But this video, you really need to watch it because it really made me realize that, we go to the store, we see a miniature that catches our eye, we say, oh, I want to take that home and I want to put it in my game, I want to paint it and get it going. And then life happens, and the next thing I know, we've got 30, 40, 50,000 minis in our collection that we haven't finished yet. And so I get it. There is, I understand why people call it the pile of shame, but I like his take on this, that it's not shame to want to collect something. I mean, some people collect, figurines. Women collect I don't know. My wife collects shoes, and she won't be mad at me for saying that. She likes shoes. She's got quite the shoe collection. I know my mom likes to collect figurines, or she collects certain types, and some people collect plates, and some people collect cigar lighters, and some people collect baseball cards. Whatever it is, it brings us joy, and I think our hobby is one of the few. I don't know of anyone else any other hobby that refers to its collection as a pile of shame. Now, granted, our miniatures aren't painted, or that's what we call our pile of shame. Whereas when you're collecting other things like baseball cards or what have you, they're finished, right? They're in their final form, so there's no shame there because you just bought something that's done. But that's part of why we play our games. I think most of us enjoy may be the wrong word, but I think most of us like the part of picking miniatures out for the games we play and then hitting the table with them. Now, whether you like painting them or not, I don't know. But it really struck a nerve, not a sore spot. It hit me that I'm not going to refer to this as my pile of shame anymore. Yes, I've got a lot of miniatures that need painting, but there's a lot going on in my life, and sometimes my eyes, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. You jump on and you think, oh, I've got plenty of time to paint those. I'll get them home and we'll get on them this weekend. Well, this weekend rolls around and your kids have this or your wife has that, and the next thing you know, the weekend's gone. And did you do any painting? No, you didn't. So again, I'm going to put a link to this video down below. It's a new channel, so if you like it, definitely subscribe to it. I did, and he's got some interesting things. He's an FX special effects background. I don't know the whole story there, but he's decided to create a channel dedicated to tabletop gaming. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. All right, I think I am just about done here with this dark tone around where the edges meet and the shadows and stuff like that. And it looks hideous. I mean, I'm going to show you. It looks bad, but it's supposed to, because what I'm doing is I'm going in there and I am hitting all of the dark recesses. I'm hitting anywhere where the cloth has a fold or the arms have a muscle, like the lines of a muscle around his head, his jawline, where the weapon has some jagged edges and things like that. And so the nice thing about the dark tone is it dries pretty quick. So I'm already looking at this and realizing that it's pretty much almost dry. So what you're supposed to do next, and I've got the brush set aside for this, is you're supposed to take white, and I don't want gloss white. I want regular flat white. Yeah. You're supposed to take white, and you're supposed to carefully dry brush over the model. And what's supposed to happen is where you got down in the recesses is supposed to sort of stay dark. Now, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works. But I'm going to start at the toes because they look pretty dry. And I'll move up because, yeah, it kind of looks... That dark tone dries very, very quick. Yeah, well, in his knuckles is not so much dry. I'm going to give this... I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the video for like 5 minutes, put this in front of a fan, and make sure the dry wash is really, really done before I do that dry brushing. So I'll be right back. All right, as promised, that did not take long. Just a couple minutes in front of the fan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load this brush up with some white. And I'm going to get the white off. And you can see it's showing up on my hand. So I still haven't gotten enough off, but probably enough that I think it won't do too bad. Well, actually, you're supposed to dry brush off of areas you've already done. Yeah, that's better. And then I'm just going to go over it. Yeah, it is sort of, it's not 100%, but it's definitely getting the high areas. And what it's doing is where I'd put the dark tone is turning gray, but it's still darker than the surrounding areas, which I'm fine with, because when I go over this with the speed paint, anything that's dark is going to have obviously a darker shade. I'm not sure what the right word is beneath the paint, but that's okay. It's the black of the dark tone is getting some white on it, but it's still dark. It's still much darker than the surrounding areas there. So there we go. So now it's time to actually hit it with the speed paints. So what I was gonna do is give him some colored armor, not like silver. I do a lot of metallics, and I'm kind of over that. So I think what I want to do now is I want to give him a unique color. I'm thinking of blue armor. It's always safe. This cloudburst blue looks a little dark. I like this High Lord. The magic blue is almost electric blue, and that's not what I'm going for. So I think I'm going to try this High Lord blue here. Whoops, High Lord blue. That's one of the Army Painter speed paints, and we'll see what it looks like over the metallic armor. Now, he does have some skin exposed, so I've got to decide what I'm going to do. Let me check. I think the other two minis I did, let me show them to you real quick. Here's one, and here is two. So I did do different colors. This one is red with blue eyes. He's red with blue eyes. And this one is purple with red eyes. So I set a precedent here that they can be different colored skin. So maybe I want to hit him. Maybe I want to hit him with the blue. Let's do the blue for the skin. That might be interesting. Let's just see what it looks like. Again, as you can see, I don't put a lot of thought into the color schemes. Now sometimes I do. When I get a mini that I really want to, that's sort of a centerpiece, I'll be very careful about, and I just put blue on his armor, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to go with it. So yeah, I will sometimes just on a whim just go, oh, I want to paint him this color. So rather than, he's not going to be blue skin because his armor's going to be blue. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do color wise for his skin. But I like this blue. This blue is darker than I thought, so I think it's going to have the gaps and stuff are definitely still going to show, but they're not going to be as noticeable. Well, that's not true because I'm looking now, and where the blue is getting down into the crevices is definitely darker than the higher areas. So that dark tone is definitely doing what it was supposed. Oh wow, it really is. Again, the after pictures will show you what I'm talking about. When I take some post pictures, you'll see. But where I painted dark tone down in the crevices, oh yeah, it's definitely holding. You can definitely tell with this blue that the shadows down in there are being kept. That's pretty cool. I actually like that. It wasn't that I doubted it would work. I knew it was going to do it because I'd seen Dana Howell's video on it. I just didn't realize it was going to look so cool with the speed paints on this guy. I usually do not paint as well. I know I don't paint as well as Dana does, so I didn't have a lot of high hopes for this, but it's nice to see that it's actually doing what she showed it would do, which is get down in the gaps and be dark. Oh, look at that. That is wild. I am continually surprised at some of the techniques that are taught on YouTube that you implement, and you're like, wow, I'm not a professional painter. I don't pretend to be, but sometimes you do things and you're like, yeah, that looks kick butt. And not that it's going to win any contest, but I'll be proud to put it on the table. Look at that. That is very cool. I'm going to have to do some touch-ups on his legs where the skin is because I got some blue on it, but that's okay. I can do that. That is really wild. I love it when a plan comes together. Well, anyway, getting back to that video I was mentioning to you. So my pile of shame, which I'm going to stop calling my pile of shame. I've got to get out of the habit of calling it that. It's not my pile of shame. It is my collection of unpainted miniatures for the tabletop. And my goal is, obviously one day my goal is to try and get everything painted. Will I? Probably not. But I can certainly keep rocking and rolling with these videos, which give me an inspiration to paint. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know that a lot of you would never, I wouldn't say never, but a lot of you would never consider filming yourself painting a miniature. And I'm not going to try to convince you to do it, but what I am going to tell you to do is think about it, because when you tell people on Facebook or Discord or wherever that you're going to be painting a miniature, whether it's live or just, you're going to start a new little channel of just miniature painting, I'm going to tell you that it does light a fire under you. When you know that people are sort of waiting patiently for your next painting video. Now, in my case, I have a lot of different videos, so I'm not the best example of this because I frequently forget to do things. But I try to adhere to schedules, but I'm not the best at it. But my point is, if you have a lot of minis and you are wanting to paint those minis, but you need an incentive, here's the incentive. Create a YouTube channel or create a Twitch channel, whatever you want, and paint a few videos doing what I'm doing. You don't even have to talk, just paint them. But, if you want to talk about what you're doing or just chat about a topic or whatever, do it. Post 2 or 3 and then share it online. Say, hey, I'm going to start painting some regular miniatures. People, I do it. I like to watch people painting miniatures. Now, I typically watch the professionals, but I do watch non-professionals. There's just not that many doing it. I mean, as I said, this is not my specialty. My painting often stinks, and I will readily admit it to you. So don't think that I would be judging you. If anything, the answer to that is absolutely not, because I have nothing to judge you on. My painting is often crude, and it's just enough to get it on the table. But I'm telling you that when you tell people that you are going to be painting regular miniatures, and you're going to be posting videos of it, people get interested. They want to see it, so they will subscribe to you. And again, when you know that people are sitting out there waiting for your next video, they're waiting, and it sort of makes you realize that, hey, I better get on that. I got people wanting something from me. Now, for me, I have a lot of different channels and a lot of different things going on, so sometimes even peer pressure doesn't work for me, because it's just a matter of how much time do I have. Sometimes my kids need to go to places when my wife's out of town traveling. My wife travels not a lot, but she does travel more regular than I've ever traveled. And so I have to be careful. My kids come first. But what I can tell you is, if you will commit to painting 1 mini a week or 2 or 5 or whatever, and you will post videos of it, you will find an audience. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I'll be one of them. If you tell me, hey, I'm going to start doing the videos, I'm going to start painting minis, I'll watch them, mainly because I enjoy just listening to people talk about the hobby, and I like to watch what they're doing. Sometimes you learn something. Sometimes you pick up on you pick up on new skills, and so just something to consider. So anyway, back to this video. So this guy, and I'm sorry, I really wish I knew his first name, and if somebody knows, please tell me so I can stop saying this guy. The Alchemy channel, the Tabletop Alchemy channel, which has just started, it's his organization with like taking pictures and stuff. It's a really cool idea, and definitely one I want to implement, because I need to know what I have. What do I have that needs to be painted? And rather than call it my pile of shame, it's going to be called my pile of opportunity. I think he even mentions that in there. It's a pile of opportunity. So many of us who play games solo or competitive, I think a lot of people would rather play than paint, but you also don't want to show up to the game store or wherever, with unpainted minis. That's just, nobody likes that. I have seen a few people, I've run into a few people who, for one reason or another, they play with unpainted minis, and they're fine with that. Hey, you know what? That's great. I'm glad for you. It's not for me, but, hey, if it works for you, that's great. But I can't do it. I cannot do it. I have to have my minis painted. So, so I'm trying to change my mindset. I'm trying to say, okay, look, instead of just looking at all those minis sitting there and feeling bad about the fact that I never can get to them, I'm going to do something about it. I'm actually going to start painting them regularly. Even if I wasn't doing these videos for y'all and sharing them on the YouTube channel, the Tabletop Engineer Plays, even if I wasn't doing that, I would still be painting minis. I probably just wouldn't be painting as many as I am right now. Right now, I'm trying to paint about 3 a week. I'd really like that to get up to 1 a day, but some days I just am not feeling. I can't really get into painting. So probably 5 a week, or 1 per day is not going to happen. But what I want to do is I've been posting videos of me playing solo games. And what I want to do is I want to post more of the gameplay videos, more of different variety of games. And so what I'm going to do is my goal is every time I post one of these playthrough videos, I want to post a painting video along with it. So you'll get 2 for 1 in 1 day. And my goal, like I said, would be to get up to 5 times a week, five painting videos, 1 per day. But right now, that's just not feasible. So I'm going to shoot for 2 or 3. And we'll see how things go. I do know that, they say habits take a certain amount of time to develop before they just become like second nature. And I mean, I got to admit, that's kind of what I'm gunning for. I would like to get in a habit of painting a mini daily. I mean, there are people out there who do things daily. They do yoga or they do meditation or whatever. I think it would be really nice to be able to paint a mini every day. Set aside a half an hour or an hour. Maybe once a week, what you do is you prime your minis for the next week, right? So that when you come to the table to paint, you don't have to deal with the priming. They're already done. And I do that. I have a lot of miniatures around my workshop that are already primed and painted. So I think that's probably a good recommendation because I know it's worked for me. And I can tell you it's nice being able to pick up, like for instance, this one was primed. It didn't have that dark tone wash, so it was ready to go. I just picked him up and he was ready to paint. And I'd probably already be done right now if I didn't have to do that. Didn't have to, but if I didn't choose to do that dark tone between the gaps and in the crevices and stuff like that, I'd probably already be done with this guy. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say. But the speed paints definitely have helped my game in terms of just me getting miniatures done and on the table. I'm not going for perfection here. I'm just going for get this guy painted so that you can add him to the bad guy list or the good guy list. I don't know what he's going to be. I'm trying to get it to become a habit. Something that I look forward to every day. Hey, it's minning time. I even thought so much about getting up like a half hour early each morning before the boys are up and doing it in the morning. The problem is my eyes are a little wonky in the morning. I just don't focus. My brain's wonky too. I think I'm at my peak painting like in the early afternoon to mid-afternoon. I just find that's when I have the best energy. I'm not tired. My eyes don't hurt. We'll see. I don't know. One of the things I'm not really liking about this particular one is this. I knew I should have made a note. This plasmatic bolt, which is a green speed paint, it has never done well for me. It pools and it shows the white underneath. It never coats properly, and I wish I had remembered before I brought it out, but now I'm remembering, and that's okay. We'll deal with it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get the gun with this Gravelord Gray. I'm not gonna paint it silver. Instead, I'm gonna paint it this Gravelord Gray because I like it to be a dark color but not black. I want you to be able to see the details. So I'm just gonna hit the pistol with the Gravelord Gray, and then I will go back over it later with some small colors for the lights and any of the detail work, maybe some silver here and there. I just like the way the Gravelord Gray coats. All right, and a little bit on the handle there, and I think the gun is done. All right, that's about all I can do for him. While I wait for that green to dry, because I may want to do, I'm not going to do an extra coat. I may do a different green. I need to paint his gloves, his belt. For that, I'm going to use one of these browns. And the one I'm going to use is called, where is it? It's called Hardened Leather. It's actually one of the better browns in the, there's one called Sand Golem, and there's another one called Darkwood. And the Darkwood's nice, it's dark. I don't care for how dark it gets. This Hardened Leather actually does not do, when it dries, it's not so dark you can't tell what it is you just painted. In this case, I'm painting one of his belt pouches brown, and when it dries, it will. In my experience, it's looked really good. The brown has. It pools it pools really well in the crevices and in the darker areas. All right, let's see. I could probably do his belt and then do a buckle that's maybe silver or gold. I can do that. Just not sure. Yeah, this one's not going to be one of my favorite minis with the final paint job. I'm not really happy with how this one's turned out. Mainly it's the green that bothers me. I've got to get the gloves. Oh, you know what? I got to do the handle of the axe. That's what I got. I knew there was something else I wanted to paint brown. I guess I could paint that steel, but the major part of the axe is going to be steel, so I figure I'm going to make the axe brown, or the handle brown. Okay. And again, I'll put a link to this mini if you like him. Not my paint job, but if you like the mini itself, the mold or whatever, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check it out and maybe pick one up yourself. It's they're sold individually. You can buy, I think Diehard sells most all of their miniatures separately, but you can also buy them in bundles. So if you like this particular race, I think there's like a bundle of 4 of them, or maybe 5. So you don't have to, you can get this nice collection. I unfortunately have bought these separately, not bundled, because 1 or 2 of these came later after I saw the one I like. I don't even remember which one it was. I can't remember if it was the red one or the purple one that came first. But yeah, I definitely was a fan when I saw them. So let's see. I want gunmetal for the blade. So I encourage you, if you have any questions about starting a channel or whatever, and you want to ask, hit me in the comments, or you can email me at jimsworkshop@fastmail.com. And the main reason being is I would honestly like to see more. I don't know why I did the dark tone on the blade, since I'm hitting it with this silver. It's going to cover it all up anyway, and then I'll have to go over it with a dark wash again. I would definitely enjoy seeing more amateur miniature painting videos, and I put myself in that collection. I'm an amateur for sure. Now, I've painted a lot of minis, so sometimes I get lucky and I paint a mini, and when it's done, I look at it and I go, wow, I did that? I can't believe I did that. Can't believe all that came together and I pulled it off. That's not going to be the case, I believe, with this particular mini. This one, I'm just all of a sudden, I'm like, I just want to finish it and be done with it, because I'm not pleased with how it turned out. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be surprised. Maybe when I go over it with a different green on the body, the head, and the arms and legs, maybe that will change my mind. But right now I am not happy with how this one turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this blade dry, and I'm going to tackle his gloves and the base, and that should be it. I'll still have to go back over the blade with a dark tone, and it should be dry enough that I can do that before we finish. I've got to go over his eyes. His eyes are going to have, and his belt buckle. I forgot his belt buckle. There's definitely something I need to choose a bright color for the eyes, since everything else is so stinking dark on this guy. I am not, well, the blue turned out like I wanted it. I'm not too disappointed in the blue. But the green is just horrible. The green, what is it? Plasmatic Bolt Green. Army Painter, if you're listening, you've probably heard it from other people already, but it's not good. I'm going to go over it with this Orc Skin, which is probably a mistake too, but we'll see. I'm just going to do the feet because I have a feeling it's going to reactivate. If it does, it doesn't really matter because it's green. Oh, no, you know what? Maybe I should have started with the orc skin. Now that's a vivid green. Wow. Okay, make note to self. Orc skin is the green to go for next time. Wow, that's much better. So I'm right. I'm going to paint his little toenails like a whitish color in a minute when I get the feet done. That is a green. Wow, I can't believe I've not used, I think I've used it before, but I can't remember which one. Wow, orc green. Or what is it called? Orc skin is the green in question, and it's green. It's very green. I mean, like green. So you got to be careful if that's not what you're going for. It's a leprechaun, St. Patty's Day green for sure. Ugh. But beggars can't be choosers, man. I was unhappy with the arms and the legs, so I'm gonna stick with it. He's not too bad. So I'll have a purple one, a red one, and now I've got a green one, which is fine. And there are some little details that I can do on this green guy. Like his shoulders have little spikes that you can paint. They're like natural. They're not armor. They're not metal or whatever. They're like growths on his arm. And so I could hit those with a different color, like maybe bone, to just make them pop out. And I'll probably do that just because this guy being all green and the blue armor, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I mean, it's not bad, but he is, and I haven't even painted the head yet, so let's see what that's going to do. It's definitely going to force me to have to go back over the eyes with some white primer or white paint, just so I can paint those a color that stands out. He's also got 2 teeth coming up from his lower jaw that jut up, and I want to make sure to get those because I did it on the other 2. They've got these like weird looking teeth that come up, and I want to make sure I hit those. All right, that is his body, and the only thing left is the base and the gloves. And I think what I'm going to do for the gloves is I'm going to go with a different blue. I didn't like. I used the. I'm going to use the magic blue this time and see what it does. It goes with the suit he's wearing, but it's not the same blue. So let's take a look. And oh yeah, well, yeah, it's not too bad. It's actually pretty close to the blue I used, but which was High Lord blue. But this one is definitely a little electric, little more electric blue. But it makes the gloves stand out, which really wasn't what I was going for, but that's okay. The gloves can stand out. And again, I'll take before and after pictures so you can see this monstrosity that I just painted. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I will say that the knuckles and the fingers gaps where the dark tone got down are staying. The blue is filling them in and they're appearing darker, so that's good. I'll probably get some detail there on the hands, which is what I wanted. Let's see. All right, that's about the best I can do on that. I'm going to wick some of this away on his belt. All right, well, I'm going to paint the base black, and I think I'm going to call it done, except for the toenails. I may have to wait and do those once the green fully dries. I can't paint them right now because the green is just too wet. So instead, what I'm going to do is paint the base real fast, and we'll call this one done. So one of the things I wish, I hope that some of you will do is let me know in the comments if there's any special topics you want me to talk to you about. I mean, everything I say is my opinion. I don't pretend to be the expert on anything. So don't ask me, don't ask me something unless you want my opinion, right? Don't ask me like for facts or what I think about a particular. If you ask me what I think about a particular product, I will tell you, but that's just my opinion. It's not going to be gospel, and it shouldn't be taken that way. And I don't want to offend anybody in the sense that I've learned over the years that if there's a game I don't like, there are 100 people that do like it. I got over a long time ago. I don't really think I ever had that issue, but I just realized a long time ago that, you know, everybody has their own interests, and just because somebody likes this and I don't, that doesn't make me a bad person, and it doesn't make a person bad who doesn't like the hobbies I enjoy. So ask away if you want to know where I stand on a particular product or a game or something. I'll tell you. I just will remind you that it's just my opinion, man. I don't claim to be the expert on anything. All right. So again, not my favorite miniature by any means. The green on blue, not my favorite. But I think once his eyes are painted, and I'm thinking yellow, or maybe orange. I haven't decided. I'm gonna go probably yellow. I think once the yellow on the eyes, I need to put a dark wash on the blade to bring out some of the detail. I definitely need to blot. I'm gonna have to go over his belt in the back again, because the blue and the green sort of blended and it just doesn't look right. So I'm gonna have to hit that again. The gun turned out okay. The gun is sufficiently dark that you can now see the details. The gloves are a little lighter shade of blue, not great, not a huge amount. I missed a spot, but close enough that I just put my finger in the black. But it's enough that it makes the gloves pop a little bit. And let me touch up the black here that I messed up. All right, that's it for this video. Again, not looking to solve any problems. Just wanted to share with you about that video that I saw, and that I just think it's a great point that we should stop looking at all of our unpainted minis with any kind of like apology. Or now, if you've got thousands of minis and none painted, you've never painted, you need to admit that that's not your thing. You're not into painting minis. And you shouldn't feel ashamed of it, but at least acknowledge it. Don't go saying, well, I'm going to paint one next week or whatever. You know, if you've got miniatures painted, then you're a miniature painter. It's just maybe you're slower than normal. But I've not encountered anybody like that. I don't think I've ever met anybody who has just unpainted minis and nothing else. Although that one guy I did see play with unpainted minis. A whole tabletop of them, an army of them. I got to think maybe he does have a whole bunch. But we'll see. So I'm gonna put this in front of the fan and let it dry really well. And I'm gonna put some white on the eyes and then yellow them and go over the blade with a dark tone. I'll take some post pictures of when it's all said and done and add them to the end of this video so that you can see the before and the after shot. All right. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me on this Paint a Mini video. Not sure how I feel about it yet. Maybe it'll grow on me, especially once his eyes are painted. All right, I'll be back again very soon, probably the next day or two, with another miniature painting video. Not sure what I'm going to do next, but we'll join me and you'll see.